Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're giving you our week 1 fantasy football waiver wire pickups. We're going to talk to you about who you should be picking up off the waiver wire this week and who you need to avoid. Let's start this fantasy football podcast right now.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Fantasy Football Upside. I am Justin, that is Kyle. Thanks for dropping by our Fantasy Football Podcast and YouTube channel. We appreciate it. Kyle, the season, it's finally almost here, man.
Yeah.
It's like right there.
Yeah.
It's been a long wait. Thank you all so much. All these new subscribers, everybody that's been there since the beginning. Thank you all for the support. Hey, stick with us throughout the season because we're going to help you. We're going to help you win that championship. Boom. Yeah. Today, even though the first week has yet to be played, we want to give you some waiver wire pickups for week 1.
Yeah.
Are you in a league where you drafted earlier? Some of these waiver wire ads may have fallen through the cracks, or did one of your players suffer an injury? This is the time to add some depth before they hit. Kyle, what you got before we get right into it?
Hey guys, click that like button down below, drop a comment. You know, we're always asking if you need some help, feel free to ask a question. Just throw that hand up and say,
help now.
There you go. Little help now. All right. Yeah, little help now. Today we're just going to be talking about guys who are rostered 60% or less on Yahoo. It's just a standard metric because a lot of people play on Yahoo. I know that people play on Sleeper and ESPN. Get out of ESPN leagues and CBS. I think they have some stuff too. There's a few others out there. My fantasy league is one. We just talk about Yahoo. It's just an easy metric. It's publicly available information. 60% rostered or less. Let's get you started on the right foot this season, guys. After you missed all these guys during the draft, or just drop a little star next to these guys to remember them later on. Remember, look, if you get you know what? If you do have a question, feel free to drop that down below about starts and sits for week 1. We are fishing for that stuff because we want to know what you've got for start and sit questions. If you get your question down below by Wednesday, we'll try to address it during the episodes where we're breaking down starts and sits. Those are going to be dropping Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. However, if you don't get it in by Wednesday, sometime during that day, it will be tough for us to include that question point it out or something like that, or make sure to specifically answer that scenario. So if it comes in later than that, make sure that you hop onto our pregame live stream on Sunday. That's right. We're going to be addressing these questions on the live stream that we're going to be doing pregame on Sunday. You'll have to be subscribed as well as have that bell clicked so that you're notified when we go live. It's going to be in the morning on Sunday prior to the start of the games. All right, so let's dive in headfirst into the shallow end. Justin, let's talk about, we've just got running backs and wide receivers this week for you guys. Next week, we'll probably have tight ends and QBs as well, but we're just kind of keeping it simple this week for, just starting. All right, here we go. Running back, Justin.
All right, we got Wayne Gallman of the now Atlanta Falcons, 4% rostered out there, so he's very much available in most leagues. He's just a backup right now, most likely, but one who will get a decent amount of work. I mean, they let go of their number 2, Condre Allison, I believe.
Kadri Allison.
That was close. Thank you, Kyle. Yeah. I mean, this isn't exactly worth a ton, though, on a team, known to throw the ball mostly. But with Julio leaving town, the team is transitioning to more of a run-first offense, especially under new head coach Arthur Smith, formerly the offensive coordinator for Tennessee Titans. We all know how run-heavy they are. But Gallman will likely be worth a stash at the end of your bench. It's not a bad guy to have. Don't expect Mike Davis, who is the running back number 1, to fall out of that role in this offense unless he gets hurt. That's not something that we predict or anything like that, but you do want to have all your ducks in a row. So Gallman is valuable primarily as a committee back with upside if Davis were to get injured and miss extended time. But there is a reason why Wayne Gallman is still a backup in this league. It's a reason why he got cut recently, but he is still somewhat valuable, especially at the end of your bench, just in case.
Yeah. I still like Mike Davis. I still think he has the potential to be I guess not a traditional bell cow, but like a modern bell cow in the modern NFL, where he's north of 15 carries a week most of the time. That's kind of what I like him for. So that's what, I do like Gallman as a stash. but it's possible. I could see him ending up getting somewhere around 20 to 25% of the carries across the season. Just try to predict that. That's tough. I think that he's not a guy necessarily you're going to be stashing or putting into a flex position, really. But holding on to him to just see what happens, that's not a bad bet if you got the space for him. Why not? All right. My running back is Tony Jones Jr., right? He's 6% rostered. He's quite possibly the running back 2 on this New Orleans Saints team this season. They didn't cut Latavius Murray, even though it was widely speculated that they might do so at the deadline to cut down to 53 players. My guess is that they most likely intend to just try to hold on to Murray to get value in a trade. I don't know if that's going to happen until maybe a team has a running back go down and they're a contender or something. Maybe then I could see that sort of play happening. But I do think that Jones has jumped him on the depth chart. So for me, I think that Tony Jones Jr. is the running back 2. And in the Saints offense, that's actually not a terrible thing to be. That's worth a decent bit. So he's mostly an upside stash at this point, but what more can you hope for prior to week 1? If Kamara goes down, it's most likely to be Jones's job, I think, and he should excel. If he's on your waiver wire still, I say feel free to spend a low priority on it or to bid a low fab bid because he is completely under the radar right now. So I don't think you're going to have to spend a whole lot to go get him on your roster, right? I like this guy. I think he's solid.
I do too. And there's another guy that thinks he's pretty darn good, and that is the head coach, Sean Payton, who said just a couple weeks ago, if you ask me right now who the running back 2 is on this offense, it is Tony Jones Jr. without skipping a beat. So that is definitely something to hold on to. That's for sure. Yeah.
And people are going out there in some leagues and still drafting Latavius Murray. So as a backup,
it's a name. He's been around for quite a while.
Yeah. But I could see him ending up somewhere else as a backup or, filling in for an injured, prime running back of some kind. So, it's not a bad guy if you do have him to kind of hold on and see what happens. If you can. If you can't and you need to make a move, then feel free to let go of Latavius Murray if you have him, guys. All right, Justin, who you got at wide receiver?
Oh, the old Lizard King, man. We got Sammy Watkins, 9% rostered out there. For some reason, this guy's being treated like he's already retired. So he did return to practice finally this week, and he's been solid all offseason. That's been the talk around training camp, is that connection with Lamar Jackson. So when he's been on the practice field, he has been dominant. Look for him to not only be able to get on the field and be a solid force this week. And this is something that not everybody's talking about. There's not a whole lot of wide receiver depth right now for the Ravens because Rashad Bateman is hurt, as well as Miles Boykin. They're both starting on the IR this beginning of this season. And then you also got Hollywood Brown that always has some sort of hamstring injury cropping up at any one time. This could be the number 1 wide receiver in this offense. Looking at this this coming matchup, Las Vegas was terrible against the pass last year. Likely continue to be bad until proven otherwise. I don't think they've done enough to change that ideology. No. So look for Watkins to put up a good week, and if nothing else, he's trade bait. If you want to hold on to him for a few weeks, see if he pops off, and especially before Rashad
I think this first week he could, man. I think this first week he could really, blow up. And the talk is that he's actually the wide receiver 1 on this team. So
it wouldn't shock me. They were trying to find anybody to be the wide receiver 1 in free agency, and not shocking. There wasn't a whole lot of wide receivers trying to go to Baltimore for how they run their offense, but they did pay him a decent amount this one season. He wants to get another contract as well.
Yeah, and he's capable of taking handoffs a little bit too out of the backfield on sweeps and other stuff. He's fast enough. They like to do motion stuff maybe with him. Then it opens them up for a little bit of versatility. Yep. The one caution I would say about him is he hasn't scored over, I think, 3 touchdowns since 2017 in a single season. So I actually think that that's going to improve this year. But how much it improves, I don't know if it's enough to really say he's more than maybe like a flex or wide receiver 3. It's possible that I think he ends up as a wide receiver 3. So I like that stash. I think that's a good one, a good grab there. So, yeah. All right, my wide receiver is Jacobi Meyers. He is 53% rostered right now, and I think he's quite possibly the wide receiver 1 on this New England team. I'm actually fairly certain that in my mind he is. Aguilar is pretty much the only competition that he has. For me, his value goes up now that it's Mac Jones throwing the passes instead of Cam Newton. And so, obviously, right? So I would say look for him to actually have a very good week this week. He's worthy of a flex consideration, I think, in this matchup against Miami. Against them, passing has been a nice thing to get involved in because they are the 8th worst passing defense last season. So I don't know if they've done enough to improve that this year. Maybe they've gotten, a few guys back there who are going to be doing better, or guys that they've added. But I think that Meyers should be drafted in every league of 12 teams or greater size. If he isn't, make sure you claim him off the waiver wire before week 1. He's likely to have a pretty big game if New England is to actually compete in this one. And so I think that there will be a run to the waiver wire for him after week 1. It's possible that he's one of those names that everybody goes, hey, let's go get that guy. Nobody's got him. And then they find out he's on your roster instead because you already picked him up before week 1. I mean, if you've got some sort of, just kind of cruddy stash on your team, and you're kind of hoping that maybe this guy could end up as a wide receiver 3 or a flex play or something. Myers is a guy you could take just as easily, and he could end up as a wide receiver 2 for you. That is entirely possible because this team will throw more, will throw better. Cam Newton was absolute trash last year, and what Belichick likes to do, wants to do, it's short passes, it's passes to the wide, the running backs, short slants, crossers, rhythm stuff. That's what Cam always struggled with. I don't even know why they thought that it would be a good idea to keep him around or to do that with them. But Mac Jones, that's what he does. That's what he does. He's very accurate in those throws, and that's what they're going to ask him to do. That's what Tom Brady did for a very long time. I mean, it was when he had Randy Moss, the game was a little different for him, but
then you had guys like Deion Branch. That's kind of what they did, was a lot of rhythm stuff. But no, I do like this one because you mentioned, it's Nelson Aguilar is another wide receiver that's there, but he hasn't really done much this offseason. And he's a new player in this new offense for him as well. Yeah. And then you got N'Keal Harry that's already starting off on the IR. And he already requested a trade. That guy's in the doghouse. So, I mean, who are you going to have? You got Jonnu Smith and Hunter
that's
Henry.
really his primary competition. That's his primary competition is tight ends, and they're kind of banged up. They were both banged up earlier, Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, right? And then the running backs out of the backfield. You've got Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris, who are going to catch some passes, and James White, who are going to catch some passes. But, I mean, as it goes for wide receivers, I think Jacobi Meyers is a great snag. So, he's 53% of the rosters out there, or leagues out there have him. Yeah. So he may not be available, but nearly half the leagues he is. It's a roll of the dice. It's a flip of the coin.
Try it out.
Yeah, try it out.
See how it feels.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's going to do it for our week 1 waiver wire pickups for 2021's fantasy football season. Already in the books. Here we go, guys. Fantasy football is going. Football is real. The snaps are happening. Next episode, we're going to be talking about the Thursday night matchup. All right, so we're getting into it. Here we go, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.